Real quick before we start the video today, I want to remind everybody, please check out the second half of my interview with Professor Elias Ramirez from Gracie Barra Jiu-Jitsu. We're talking about mental mindset, putting structure and challenges in your life, getting in better physical shape, better mental shape, better spiritual shape, and a bunch of other topics. So check out part 2 where he interviews me. I think he has a really good channel. We need to be supporting channels like this. And if you're interested in self-defense, in physical health, mental health, and those type of topics, check this interview out. I think you might get something out of it. Let's get into it today. It's Friday, July 14th, 2023. A lot to talk about today. I printed out a bunch of articles and I took about an hour just reading the news this morning, watched some of the business channels, and I continue to see nothing but big trouble ahead, and we really need to be preparing for this. But I'm going to share with you my thoughts on where all this is going. Please feel free to comment down below. Let us all know what you're thinking, where you think this is all going to go, what direction is this country going in economically, socially. Let us know. Comment down below. But I want to start with this first article today, and it's really, really tragic. Early Thursday morning, a fire killed nearly all the animals at a Florida wildlife center in Madeira Beach. This is near St. Petersburg, Florida, at the Gulf Coast. I believe it was called the Discovery Center. They took care of all kinds of animals, alligators, reptiles, mammals, you name it. 95% of the animals at this center were pet surrenders, animals that were dropped off because people could not take care of them. People couldn't afford to take care of them, didn't know how to take care of them. So these animals were surrendered to the Discovery Center. 250 animals were there. Nearly all of them are dead. And somebody interviewed in this article said that they knew the names of each and every one of the animals. Now, most of you know I'm an animal lover, and this really breaks my heart. And if you're looking for maybe a good place to donate money, I don't even know if they're taking donations. I have no idea. I'm going to check to see if they have a GoFundMe. I'm going to send them a couple dollars if they have a way to accept money. My heart goes out, and I just want everybody to say a prayer for this group and for the animals that were lost. And an investigation is underway right now. But what a sad event. I just believe in life. Animals, people, we all just want to make it till tomorrow, pay our bills, put food on the table, not be bothered, just live our life. And that's all we're trying to do while we're on this planet, right here on planet Earth, right? The animals just want to live. They don't want to be bothered. They don't want to be poached. They don't want to be murdered, just like people, right? For the most part, we just want to go on with our day, spend time with our families, pay our bills, and put food on the table. And I'll tell you, life is tough. It really, really is. When you look at everything out there, and you look at the crime, and you look at the losers, and you look at all the obstacles, the drug addictions, and just everything that is out there, it is really difficult to go day to day with so many obstacles. And for most people, we just want to be left alone. We just want to survive and go on with our business. And it's a tragic event. Hopefully this wasn't done on purpose, but maybe it's, if you feel giving, I don't know anybody there, I've never been there, but I would rather send money there than going to a baseball game, I'll tell you that, or buying a ticket for a Hollywood movie. Maybe send $10 or $20 to them if they're accepting help. But I just wanted to mention that as we head into the weekend. Think about what you have today. You're blessed. You have a roof over your head. You have food on the table. You have your kids. You have 2 arms, 2 legs. Maybe you have 1 arm, one leg, but you're alive. You're breathing, and you're able to live during a very exciting period of time. But I think we're all blessed right now, whether you live at the beach or whether you live in an RV, whether you're living in somebody's garage, whether you're living in an apartment, it doesn't really matter. You're living today, you're awake, you're aware of what's going on, walk close to God. That is the most important thing. But we have so much to be thankful for. And any one of you that would take it for granted, Take a look at all these people in hospitals right now. We have Eisenhower Hospital out here. I drive by it daily, and I think about those people in those hospital beds, what they would give, what they would trade with you right now to be out of that hospital bed, to be out of that hospital right now, just walking around, going to the mall, having dinner with your family, just enjoying the simple things of life. You know, if somebody was worth tens or hundreds of millions of dollars, they would give every last dime of it to have their health back. So be thankful for what you have. Again, you might have one leg, one arm, one eye, whatever. You are functioning, you're alive, you're out here, you're watching the show, and you're extremely blessed. And most of all, you're preparing. Angel Studios' Sound of Freedom passes $50 million at U.S. box office. This is what we need to be supporting, ladies and gentlemen. This movie was incredible, and it really exposes light on the ultimate darkness, on this demonic darkness that is taking place, this $152 billion a year industry. I said this before, I'm going to say it again. This is a better place to put your money than a baseball game, a football game, watching one of these garbage movies that Hollywood puts out. This is what we need to be supporting. We need to be supporting people that are producing movies like this. This is where our money should be going. We should be voting with our wallet. And I think this makes an incredible statement. A movie that cost $5 million, that should have been released 5 years ago, wasn't, has now passed $50 million. Why is that? People want to see stuff like this. This intrigues people. It shocks people. It's waking people up. And they're supporting the message and the cause. And this is what we need to be doing. This movie was fantastic, and anybody that does a show like this, anybody that is talking about events that are taking place right now, socially, economically, good versus evil, your show, you need to see this movie, and you need to be promoting this movie. You know, if you're in this genre of what's happening economically, social collapse, current events, videos that relate to, you know, or similar to my videos, people that make these videos need to be talking about this movie. We all need to be promoting this movie. This is the kind of movie we need to be getting behind and making sure that the people watching these shows, that the audience is supporting a movie like this, and that they're going and watching this movie, because we cannot fight a demonic problem like this unless we are educated with what it is. Most people don't even know what's going on. They don't even know that this exists. They have no idea. And people need to be educated. Don't block it out. Don't be afraid of it. Oh, it's very negative. It's going to depress me. It scares me. You need to know your enemy, ladies and gentlemen. You need to know your enemy and what they're doing. And this needs to be stopped. And the first thing we can do is wake up, educate ourselves, and support people that make movies like this, star movies like this, and studios that produce these movies. New York Post, Triple P fraud is worst in history. $200 billion stolen and blown on Lamborghinis. This absolutely incredible New York Post article. Tens of thousands of fraudsters splurged on Lambos, vacation homes, private jet flights, Cartier jewelry, Rolex watches. Some people now facing 30 years in prison. I was just talking to my good buddy Matt, and we were just thinking how much of the economy was propped up by all this fraud, where people were buying jewelry, they were going to the mall, they were buying Airbnb homes, they were buying exotic cars like Lamborghinis and Ferraris, luxury cars like Mercedes and Lexus, and having a great time and going to the best restaurants, going to beautiful hotels. There's a gentleman here, stayed at a hotel in Miami, $7,900 just in a hotel visit, on top of his $318,000 Lambo. So the economy got completely juiced. And, you know, just looking at the gray watch market and how it literally is collapsing now, prices down 40, 50, 60%. Because All this crypto money is now evaporated. The triple P money has evaporated. And this economy is really, really slowing down. The economy's already collapsed, in my opinion, but they were able to juice it up with stimulus checks, triple P loans, a $7 trillion injection over 30 months. And so now we have inflation, and now we have a faltering economy. And now we're not going to see as many people buying Lambos and Rolex watches and Cartier jewelry. They're not going to be shopping like they once did. They're not going to be staying at the resorts like they once did. I mean, just think about how propped up all of this was. And I think a lot of people just felt bad because they weren't driving a nice car. Why is everybody driving a nice car? Why are these people driving Lambos and Ferraris and McLarens? Well, some people could actually afford to do it, but many of them were just ripping off the taxpayer. And hopefully these people get what they deserve. But the whole thing's a mess, from the closing of the economy to all the stimulus money, the triple P money, all the fraud, a complete mess. But we're going to see serious ramifications now because of all this fraud and the injection of all these trillions of dollars. Here's another one. Debt increases over $1 trillion in 5 weeks. This on the Blaze. Listen to this. It took from our founding until 1980 to accrue the amount of debt that we have now added in just over 5 weeks. And to service this $32.5 trillion, we're now spending over 5% to do it. The debt ceiling deal did not avoid default, ladies and gentlemen. It accelerated default. We are, in my opinion, in default right now. We are in default. We are the Titanic sinking and the music's playing, and delusional people still believe everything's okay because the music's still playing while the ship is sinking. Some people realize the ship is sinking and they're ignoring the music, and some people are ignoring the ship sinking and they're just listening to the music. CNBC, 1 in 3 federal student loan borrowers spent money they thought was going to be forgiven. So these same people that borrowed this money for tuition wanted us to pay it back while they took their own money and went out and spent it on stuff like going to restaurants, buying big screens, buying cars. These people really are almost as guilty as the people who were robbing and committing all this triple P fraud, because this to me is complete fraud. You have money and you're spending it on a good time, but you want me and everyone else to pay your debt. Doesn't this make you angry that they literally wanted the taxpayer to pay this debt back while people went out and had a good time, spent money, took trips, bought cars, and went out to dinner? They wanted you and I to pay for this. Shame on the politicians, and shame on these people who borrowed the money and obligated themselves to these loans. Shame on them. TheEconomicCollapse.com. Vast hordes of Americans are being forced out into the streets as the middle class disintegrates. Now, is this a made-up story? Is this really happening? Some people will say, oh, there's no Mad Max coming. JB's exaggerating. He's negative. He's doom and gloom. Mad Max, that'll never happen. Take a look out your window, ladies and gentlemen. Take a drive down into your cities and take a look at what is going on. You know, life might be great for you. Maybe you go out and eat every night. Maybe you go to Vegas every weekend and stay at a nice hotel. Maybe you're leasing a nice car. Maybe you even have a vacation home. But I'm going to tell you right here in the state of California, I've never seen so many homeless people, and there's lots of little kids on those streets too. A couple years ago when we were down at Skid Row in Los Angeles, watching kids, maybe 5, 6, 7 years old, walking around the city barefooted, stepping over trash, over needles. It's a disturbing time, ladies and gentlemen. And yet people believe that these are great times, that everything's going to be okay, everything's fine, because they have a vacation home, they're driving their BMW, they're going out to dinner tonight, so everything's okay for them. And these people have blinders on. I think either they're too scared to look around and admit what's going on because they don't want They don't want their bubble to pop. But these people better wake up, because this can happen to them too. There are people on the streets right now who had nice cars and lived in nice houses, and now they're in big trouble because they've lost their jobs, they've had medical bills pile up, they don't have a family to fall back on, they don't have a church to fall back on, the economy has collapsed, very hard to replace a good job, and people are at the end of their rope. And there's nowhere to go. They're on the streets. California has spent $17.5 billion in the past 4 years combating this homeless crisis, and it's only getting worse. So I'm sure a lot of the money is being stolen, just like Triple P money, but the problem is getting worse. And this, again, is a reflection of the economy. It's a reflection of society. Look, there's no doubt we have a drug epidemic going on. We have a mental crisis going on, but we also have an economy that has collapsed and people are in big trouble. And we're going to see, here's the problem. We're going to see more normal people coming from, you know, those houses with the white picket fences in suburbia, where these people, many of them, going to be forced to be homeless. And they don't have the skill set to survive on the streets. I was watching a YouTube video yesterday. I forgot the name of the channel. I'll try to look it up. But this gentleman's saying now they're repossessing 20,000 cars a day. Now, last week and weeks prior, I reported 15,000 cars a week being repossessed in this country. Well, this gentleman says now it's 20,000. Think about what happens if a family, a household, loses their car. How do they get to work? How do the kids get to school? How do they go grocery shopping? How do they produce an income without a car, especially here in California? But in most places around the country, you got to have a car to get to the store. You got to have a car to get to work. I mean, these are really concerning times, ladies and gentlemen. My heart goes out to people with kids, because I'm sure a lot of people right now who have a roof over their head are very, very worried about what they're going to do if their spouse loses a job. Binance could lay off thousands as company buckles down for Department of Justice probe. They're saying 1,500 to 3,000 employees are going to be laid off. This just after the 1,000 they just laid off. The hedge today, JP Morgan jumps after blowing away expectations, raises guidance thanks to First Republic collapse. Didn't the FDIC give JP Morgan $400 billion to do this deal? Correct me if I'm wrong. The government has been loaning these big banks billions of dollars for literally next to nothing, for literally 0%. While you pay 7+% on your mortgage, if you don't have good credit, 20% down, you're probably paying about 8.5% today, at least. You're paying probably 7.5 to 12% on your car, 29% on your credit card, and you're earning about 0.25% in your savings account. And they're charging you 29% on your credit card, ladies and gentlemen. They're charging you 7 to 9% on a mortgage. It's incredible what is going on. Yet it's all diced and sliced and diced to be good news. Isn't this great? The big banks blow away expectations. Did it help you at all today? Is it helping your life? It's making the people at the very top much more wealthy on the taxpayer expense. And remember, in my opinion, I believe that this economy is being sacrificed for Wall Street, but that's okay. Wall Street's going to get theirs. Wall Street will collapse because Wall Street is the most manipulated market out there. It is one of the biggest bubbles. Probably housing would be the biggest, but we all know what happens to bubbles. They all pop. Wolfstreet.com. Core services CPI cools to still red hot 6.2%. Core CPI to 4.8%. Food prices stabilize at very high levels. So it sounds great that CPI is at 3%, but what about core CPI? This is the one that really counts. We're still sitting close to 5% while food prices remain very, very elevated. And we're going to get another rate hike very, very soon here, another 25 basis points. So, you know, anybody that thinks that we're out of the woods and that things are going to be okay, you better look at the core CPI. You better look at food prices. And we know energy prices are about to skyrocket. And as we've used up so much of our strategic petroleum reserves in order to manipulate energy prices down, gas prices down. What happens when we begin to come to a point where we're forced to top off these reserves? And now we're back, we're about $76, $77 a barrel. And we know OPEC Plus is cutting production. Russia's going to cut production. And these countries are going to really, squeeze us. And I think that quite possibly by the end of this year, we could be pushing $90+ a barrel. And this is going to push inflation up, dollar being pushed down. This again is going to be more concern, more cause for concern that we're going to see more inflation. I do believe that we're going to see another wave of inflation coming. We're not out of the woods. And I don't even believe the inflation numbers that they're giving us right now, because I go to the store daily, literally. I'm looking at car prices. I'm going to the grocery store once a week, and I cannot believe the price of cars, the price for services, the price for food. A family of four, I can't even imagine. And I will tell you this: have you been seeing your utility bills go down? We haven't. It is very, very expensive to run the air conditioning this year, and it's 100. What are we at? We're 115, 117 degrees today, 121 tomorrow. So people are going to be getting enormous utility bills out here in the desert. New York Post, 35-year-old man stabbed to death on New York City's Pier 84. This took place at 6 a.m. yesterday. Gentleman stabbed another gentleman in the chest, killed him, ran off with 4 other people. They're looking for that gentleman right now. Here we go again. I mean, it's just day after day after day of just violent chaos. Here's another one. Harrowing video shows moment New York City road rage driver fatally plowed into construction worker. So basically, these 2 gentlemen had a minor fender bender. One gentleman gets out of his car, runs up to the car that bumped his car, slashes the dude's tires. The dude in that car runs the dude over who slashed his tires. It sent him through a storefront window, shattering all the glass. The driver was arrested, has 2 prior arrests. So a minor fender bender, a little bump on the rear of a bumper. One guy comes out with a knife, slashes the tire. The driver of that car literally runs this guy, tries to run this guy over. He rolls over the hood, bounces off the car, through the glass window, through a storefront. I mean, this is where we're at today, ladies and gentlemen. You get into a little minor accident, get ready for a knife fight or to be thrown through a glass window. This is just pure chaos. Here's another one. Large group of car burglars caught roaming California neighborhood. There was a home security camera showing 10 people, most wearing hoodies, walking down an Antioch, California street, breaking into cars. One person was watching this happen on the security camera, and he said he was hoping that these people would not come into his garage because he did not want to confront these people out of fear. So what if these people had said, hey, we're not just coming to your garage, we're going to come in your house. They kick your door down, or they break a window and they come in your house. You prepared to deal with this. This is what's happening. So it's not just New York, it's not just Chicago, now it's Antioch, California. It's happening everywhere at this point. Things are absolutely out of control. And I pray to God, every one of you watching this is working on your security. Security, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Too many people are worrying about, oh my gosh, I hope real estate prices fall so I can buy a house. You better worry about your physical safety first. Make sure that you know how to protect yourself, that you have self-defense skills, that you have security and the correct tools to protect yourself and the correct training. And I will close with this last article. The administration approves 3,000 reserve troops for deployment amid recruiting woes. We are really, I believe at this point, instigating things. We're really turning the heat up with the potential of causing World War III. Please comment down below. This to me First off, we cannot afford to be in another war. We are a bankrupt nation. Two, we don't have enough ammunition. We don't have enough supplies. We have 40% of our attack subs out of commission right now for repairs. That's an embarrassment right there. We don't have the oil. We should not be antagonizing things right now. We should keep our nose out of the business of other countries. This is my opinion. And let me remind all of you, this is not political. We're looking at this in an economical viewpoint, that we are bankrupt. We owe $32.5 billion, over $200 trillion if you include unfunded liabilities. How in the world are we going to afford to be in another war? I have no idea. Print more money, cause more inflation. So I hope that this is all avoided. I hope this war ends. I don't want to see any more people lose their lives over this, and I especially don't want to see the United States get any more involved in this than it already has. We are too weak, we are too unprepared, and we are too broke to be entering into a possible World War III scenario. We are provoking countries that are very powerful, and we are forcing countries now to leave the dollar, leave the SIP system, turn to alternatives. We are pushing countries away from us. We're forcing them to do business with other countries. And we're going to be one of these countries that nobody's going to ever want to do business with. Nobody's going to want to deal with. And people will go, well, oh yeah, but we have the dollar. We're the biggest, baddest country. And no, we're not the biggest country. There's countries bigger than us. And there's markets and emerging markets that are much bigger than America. And they're going to be much bigger than America. And the world knows that America just prints money, and that we have a GDP that is comprised of 70% of this GDP comprised of consumption, where people are buying stuff with money they don't even have. The world is on to us, ladies and gentlemen. They know that we have a money machine. Once that money machine is worthless, the paper that comes out of it is worthless, nobody's going to want to accept it. Nobody's going to want to give you their goods and services for monopoly money. And they resent the fact that America can just print money out of thin air and buy these physical goods and services with a printing machine, with a money machine. So I think we're going to see emerging markets and other countries around the world at some point really boom and really prosper once they get off the US dollar, once they get to an alternative currency, especially backed by gold. I think that we're going to see markets around the world really prosper. While this one right here, where we don't really build anything, we don't manufacture anything, we just buy stuff. What happens when the money is no good? How do people buy stuff? Because when you go to Walmart, 99% of everything there is from another country. How are you going to buy something from Walmart if your money's no good? How does Walmart go, hey, China, we want to buy your stuff? And China says, well, we don't accept dollars anymore. Show us your gold. It's going to be a different time. And I know a lot of people just can't fathom that. They can't digest what I just said. But you better study history. And you don't have to go far back. Just look a couple years ago, where things like closing the U.S. economy down, closing the global economy down. Think about how a couple years ago we would have never thought that was even humanly possible. Thinking about how big and powerful China has gotten over the last decade. Just think about that. Think about injecting $7 trillion into an economy over 30 months. Think about people buying Lambos for $318,000 on the taxpayer expense. Think about this. This all happened, and there's much more we could get into, but we won't talk about that right now. But there's a lot of things that just happened that we never thought humanly possible. How about people not going to work? How about office buildings just sitting empty and turning into ghost towns? How about the violent crime that we're seeing every day? $32.5 trillion in debt. The average new home, $426,000. I mean, did you even think this was possible 10 years ago? Car lots sitting empty? No, it's just really hard to fathom all this. But what I'm trying to say is anything is possible, and you need to be prepared for anything. And if you think that it's impossible for America to fall or the US dollar to fall, you're drinking the Kool-Aid, and you need to wake up, snap out of your coma quick. So as I leave you today, just make sure you say your prayers. Thank God for everything you have. Thank God for your families. Maybe check out this Discovery Center in Madeira Beach, Florida, losing all those animals. Maybe they're taking some donations. I don't know. But a sad state of affairs. But thank God for everything you have. Thank God that you're not in this situation. Say a prayer for these people. I'm sure that a lot of these people that work there are very distraught with what happened. And just remember, you could lose everything today. You could be in a car accident today. Anything's possible. So make sure you're praying to God for strength, protection. There's just a lot of demonic entities out there. And it's running loose, it's running wild, and we need to really pray for this country, and we really need to pray to God and stay close to God for protection. We've never seen things this bad, socially, spiritually, economically, mentally. We've never seen this bad. So stay close to God, have a good weekend, get that workout in, do a little preparation, and maybe help somebody out. You see some homeless, maybe some homeless people, some homeless animals, help them out. Give them some water, give them a little bit of food. Do something if you have the means to do it. We gotta help one another, ladies and gentlemen. One word of advice I will give quickly before I go here is if you've been blessed, you've been gifted, give a little something. You're gonna get it back. You're gonna get it back. Trust me. We got to make sure if we're able and we've been blessed to give back a little bit to the people on the streets, to the people, maybe some friends maybe some people at work need a little bit of help. Donate some things at some of these charitable organizations like Angel View and whatnot. Donate some clothes, some shoes. There's somebody out there that's going to appreciate it. God bless every one of you. Have a great weekend. It's been an honor and a privilege to spend a few minutes with all of you. Stay safe. Peace.